Person 78, so your energy engages on the rainbow road and manifests into either a crow or a raven. I think it's a raven, but could be a crow. And so I start getting Alfred Hitchcock, and I think Edgar Allan Poe. There's this poem that's coming back to me about like a raven, I think. I don't know if it's Edgar Allan Poe, but that's the name that came to me. And then I start getting like that floorboard story where is it the heart that's beating underneath the floorboards, and so I'm getting kind of all of these signals, and then I start to get red rum, which I think is just trying, because I was thinking crow, so I think that was getting me towards raven instead of crow. But so I'm getting kind of this, this combination of stories, and where it's like hit the crow or the raven is the messenger. It's like a symbol of an omen, or almost like a bad omen, but they're the messenger. And so as I start pulling all of this together, I'm getting that there's like some big secret, there's something hidden, there's and I'm assuming you're probably the energy of the crow, and so there's some kind of message, something, deliverance of a message or whatnot. And then I see the crow or the raven, and it now has a wine cork in its mouth. And so, in my understanding, like that screech of that bird is like that. It sends those shivers down your back, and that's kind of like that omen, and that's kind of like their call. I think their call of recognition and presence, to be delivering that symbology of the omen, or the message. And sometimes it's ravens and crows, they're somewhat connected to the underworld too, so there's this whole like kind of theme to this message that's trying to be conveyed. And now that it has a cork in its mouth, I'm getting that it's not able to be the omen, it's not able to give the message, and so it's being stifled. And that's the word that comes to my mind when I see what's happening and all the kind of symbology that's presenting itself. And so from here, the crow then lands on its, well, it basically lands, and I get the tie to Sleeping Beauty and Maleficent, where the crow is like the pet, and in Maleficent and Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent herself actually like calls it her pet, and it is her messenger and her spy and her kind of seeker of what's going on. And so, I'm just getting affirmations that I think that's exactly what it's supposed to symbolize, is some kind of message that's not being able to be relayed. And so then I watch this raven hop on the ground, and it's hopping on like a dirt ground, and it's hopping towards this tree, and it's hopping through dead leaves and everything, and it gets to this tree, and instantly I get the song from the Hunger Games, that recent movie, The Hanging Tree, that really beautiful but kind of eerie song. And I see the crow hop right underneath one of the branches of the tree, and it starts scooting aside all the dead leaves, and it shows me this X. And so I see this X, and we look up, and I see this ghost of a hanged man hanging there. And as soon as we see it, the crow or the raven hops back, and this ghost kind of like falls down right through the X, and it's now underground. And so now I see your energy in the form of a man come up towards this X, and how you have a candle, and you light this candle, and you keep putting this candle on this X, and the candle keeps blowing out. And so I'm getting some kind of connection to spirit, or I get that you are holding oh gosh, what's that word? It's a religious term when you light the candle, and vigilance, I think, maybe, I'm not sure, but you're almost, and it felt like you knew about this hanging. And I get that your energy was this messenger, and you were the person trying to, I get that the hanging was like wrongdoing. And so I'm getting very like past life here, right? So I'm getting that the hanging was wrongdoing, and it's almost like as if you could have stopped it, but you didn't for fear of something. And I'm getting that you were this crow that was stifled, and you saw the omens and the messages leading up to this, and you could have stopped it, but there was fear in stopping it, that you would be persecuted next. And so I get that there's a throat chakra thing here that's being brought up. And so from here, I see now you turn and you walk through this portal, which is the next, moving through to the next kind of phase of this. And so as you move through the portal, typically people move up or down, and this tends to tie me into chakras somewhere, but you actually lay horizontal, and you are in a state of suspension. And so, and I see your body now get pulled in this horizontal line, and I see you get pulled like as far as your body can stretch, and there's this tornado moving in a horizontal way around your body. And so I'm instantly connected to this is past life, and it's translating through time space, right? So I get that it's being repeated in different lifetimes, and this is a life lesson type of a thing. And so the vortex around you, kind of, I get that this is what's pulling it through time space, and that the lesson hasn't maybe been learned or acknowledged at this point. Oh, and the title I asked early on, because I wasn't sure what, if it was past life or what, so I asked what a title would be for this reading, and they said listen. So then I get that it is probably life lesson stuff. So then at the, I see you being pulled and stretched, and then until you're stretched so far, and then basically you snap to that end point. And so I'm getting, we're in current life now, and I see you walk and lay down in your bed, and I see a little dream bubble arise, and I see you actually like yelling out the messages. I see you unstifled. So I see you working through this in dreams, and like you are like yelling to save somebody, or yelling out something that's gonna warn somebody. So I see that in the dream state that you're working through this, and then from here I see you then move, and now you're in like a jail cell, but it's really old, and you have like an iron ball around your leg, a chain and ball, right? And I see that you're put right in between these 4 jail cell kind of cell walls, and they're like right up on you. Can't move in any direction. You're trapped. And that's what I'm getting, is that you're trapped, and I feel like you're being now wrongly accused and wrongly punished. And this warden comes over and looks at you and says, you think anybody's gonna believe you? You think they're gonna believe that you're telling the truth? And so I feel now that you're being punished for speaking a truth, that you're almost, again, it's like a persecution, and like you've spoken the truth, and for whatever reason it's getting you in trouble. And so again, throat chakra, I'm getting this is tied between these different lifelines. And so then I see this, basically this energy die in jail, and I see the spirit move up to heaven, and like you were too scared and too intimidated by authority or whatever it was to speak the truth. And so so I see you move up into heaven, and then I get the rebirth process, and I get that this lesson is with you again in this next life. And so I'm getting that this is something that's been carried on through lifetimes. And then from here we move towards your Akashic records, and I see the Akashic records present itself like the White House. And so instantly I'm going, okay, this is like super authority, right? This is like the overall governing board. And I get black and white, wrong and right. Like there's defined rules, and I just get very like logical left brain, right? So I get that there's like order. And so as you walk up and into the White House, basically that's everything that comes through, is that that there's, and I don't know if it's like authority, or if it's this kind of like governing board or something that's, and now I'm getting this is possibly related to this lifetime, if there's some form of I get like so left brain, right? So I get very linear thinking, like almost like if you were to speak your truth in this situation that you're surrounded by, that it wouldn't be accepted. And so I call down your higher self and ask your higher self, so what's for the greatest good for this person to know at this moment in time? And they're basically telling me, that there is the block in the throat chakra, and that it's time to start speaking your truth, and that then they're showing me the throat chakra being blocked, and they're saying there's a disconnect between the mental power and then the heart power, and that almost like I get there's this physical manifestation of you like swallowing your words. And so they said avoidance is just as bad as lying in this center, right? So lies are a blockage of the throat chakra energy, and your ability to manifest and create through the verbal speech, your truth. And they told me that avoidance is just as bad as lying here, and that avoiding to speak the truth because of, and now I'm thrown back to like the White House, right? These, whatever this overriding authority, whatever it is, left brain, linear thinking, structured order, whatever thing is in your life, that speaking your truth is actually is one of your goals, your purposes here, because the people surrounding you, and I get that there's this feeling like they're not, for whatever reason you think that there might be, again, this persecution factor, right, if you were to speak your truth. But I get that the people around you need to hear somebody speak their truth in the way that you could speak your truth, because it would affect and allow those people to remember parts of their own divinity. And so I get that you keep carrying this through the lifetimes, and that and that it's in your higher self basically said it's time to speak your truth. So hope that makes sense, with light and love.